They have, but they've got to be careful now. It's a free kick. It's McManaman, back to Molby, 20 minutes gone. Thomas for Liverpool, no score, but there might have been. And Bracewell and Bennett sorting things out. I think it was Jimmy Hill who was saying this was not the Liverpool of 2 years ago. Well, certainly defensively they haven't looked anything like their self-assured style up to now. And Sunderland forced the issue again with a free kick. Armstrong, the player who was fouled. Kevin Ball seems to be lining up something. They're, what, 30 yards out here. And it's going to come to Rogan.
His standing foot just gave way, didn't he, when he hit his shot. But I think Liverpool, when they don't have Ronnie Whelan as an anchor man in midfield and they play sort of 4 technical or attack-minded midfield players, they are always vulnerable to the counter-attack, and that's why I think we're getting such an open game.
Well, it must have done Sunderland's confidence an awful lot of good, the way the first 20 minutes has gone. There's certainly gaps there to be exploited. Forward by Burrows. Bennett lets it run. Burrows with Byrne. Forward by Atkinson. Byrne again. Armstrong trying to find David Rush on the far side. Here he is. Following up was Atkinson, who gets around the pitch very well indeed. A busy little player is Brian Atkinson, 21 years old. Molby helping it on, but into no real advantageous place for Liverpool. And Mr. Souness sitting right at the front of the bench, living every kick, I would think. And here's a mistake by Rogan, and it's gone to Rush. Following up here is Houghton. It's Rush again. And still, and here's Thomas. Didn't quite make it. Oh, but hang on. The free kick's been given anyway for a foul on Atkinson. It was Bracewell who went down at the end, but it was Thomas who fouled Atkinson earlier.
It was a foul, but again, the defender, that occasion was Anton Rogan getting himself in trouble just when his standing foot slipped on the surface, and Ian Rush not quite able to capitalise and set up an opening. Rogan's use of the ball has been quite good in the opening 20 minutes, that left foot. I wonder if McManaman could come over to the right at some stage, put Houghton over to the left just to occupy him a little bit more.
Yes, McManaman, of course, played on the right, didn't he, at Highbury for much of the first semi-final. Here's Mark Wright. Bracewell's put it through to Byrne. Burrows with the header out to Molby. And as the sun threatens to come out, Saunders challenges Gary Bennett. McManaman's backing him up here. Nicol. Atkinson who cleared from McManaman, and he now throws it to Nicol. Saunders a darting run again, but may have been backing into Bennett there. Bracewell, then Atkinson, then David Rush, offside Davenport. Jones to Thomas, good touch. Houghton joining in and getting forward well. Benny's across. Can't go back. And he's wasted it. Jones. Ian Rush, McManaman. Nicol backing up.
Well, McManaman, he has been out a month, and on those occasions, I think if it had been on the right, he might have had a go at creating a shooting chance for himself, and that occasion he knocked it back quite a long way to Steve Nicol. Not easy on this top then to hit it when it's coming across you, and it was a pretty bad slice, wasn't it?
Mulby missed out there. This is Atkinson. Burns offside. Taken quickly. Ray Houghton. Rush comes to the right. Mulby. Saunders starts his run now and then loses his balance, and Mulby couldn't get the ball through. Good cover by Sunderland, pressing up. Bracewell there on Mulby. Forward by Jones. It's Armstrong's header, and then Bracewell got it down nicely, and a good pass. Byrne. And still. Saying in his interview with Tony Gubber that if he got into a position where he could have a shot and there was somebody better to pass to, he would pass, but on the two occasions so far he's had a shot.
I didn't think he had much choice there. He bundled his way through more than anything, but Rob Jones blocked the shot across the goal, and he dragged it to the near post and the side netting.
Thomas. Saunders. The space to the right. Houghton. And now it's McManaman. Houghton again. Jones moves up here. Mulby. Rush. Good turn. Couldn't get past Bennett.
Did well there, Gary Bennett, didn't he? Because Ian Rush is so deadly in those tight situations, but Bennett stuck very close to him, made sure he wasn't able to turn and get a half chance, and at the moment he's being well marked.
Byrne to David Rush. Gary Hours starts to go down the right wing now. In the middle, Davenport going near. Well, he's found two good positions, Gary Hours, but he'll be unhappy with what he did when he got there.
I'm not sure which was the worst. I mean, neither of them were at all close, were they? He had plenty of space. Just needs to compose himself. I don't think on that occasion either he looked up. I mean, just to slow down and just compose yourself and pick out somebody or whip it in, but almost as if he just carried it on full pelt and whipped it in, and it sliced off the outside of his foot. Possibly, of course, he's not used in recent weeks to playing in that role, finding himself out wide.
On by David Rush to Davenport. Byrne in the centre, comes off Nicol. Here's Hours. Header out is by Wright. Foul by Hours on McManaman. We've been playing half an hour in the 1992 FA Cup final here at Wembley. It's Liverpool 0, Sunderland 0. But there have been openings and opportunities, particularly for Sunderland. Here's Saunders now trying to create one for Liverpool. Nicol, McManaman. Well, a corner's been given. Or is it a free kick? Because the referee signals that Ours held McManaman back, and that's what it is. And Jan Molby from here sets it up. The drive. I don't think the players in the penalty area really appreciated the fact that that was pulled back to Ray Houghton, because Jan Molby would have usually picked a spot somewhere nearer to goal than that.
I don't think the Sunderland supporters appreciate the free kick in the first place. To me, it didn't look a foul. I think Stephen just overrun it, so perhaps just as well the ball didn't end up in the net.
Yes, it was a tricky one, that, wasn't it? Anyway, nothing's come of it. Sunderland are back in the Liverpool half. They now have a free kick, and we'll see what happens at the other end. Sunderland supporters giving it all they've got. Ours to take it. Armstrong's there, so is Brotherly.
He's won a few balls in the air, actually, Armstrong. Quite tall for a wide midfield player, but I'm not sure in the Liverpool defence who should be picking him up, but he's the one, and Rob Jones is a few inches shorter than him and struggling to compete.
Here's Houghton. Molby. Saunders. Oh, it wasn't a good touch though. Bennett. Some of the fluency that you used to take for granted in Liverpool's game really isn't there these days. This is Jones. They do still have the threat of Ian Rush up front. It's Saunders now to McManaman. Play on, says referee Don. Molby. Here's Ian Rush. And now McManaman, and wide on the left is Steve Nicol. And Ours read which way he was going to go. Houghton. And here's Jones to Houghton. In it goes to Ian Rush, tries to knock it off to Dean Saunders. Nicol is out left again. David Rush is the Sunderland player making it difficult. Molby making it look easy. Houghton chipped in, but nowhere in particular. We haven't had a goal at Wembley, but there has been one at Hampden Park in the Scottish Cup final. Rangers lead Airdrieonians by 1-0. The scorer is Mark Haitley. Rangers, the previous club, of course, of Graham Souness. Here's Bracewell for Sunderland.
Well, after a bright opening 20 minutes, the last 10 has just gone a little bit flat, a few more misplaced passes, and as the game's sort of developing into a bit of a midfield stalemate, we just need one of the forwards now to start timing his runs and getting hold of the ball and doing something a bit extra.
That was a forward pass from Kevin Ball to Peter Davenport. John Byrne has gone to the left, but there was nobody to Davenport's right. Yes, the atmosphere a little subdued just at present. It will just take one moment of drama to change all that. Here's Molby. And Bracewell won the tackle. Byrne picked up the loose ball. They want support now. David Rush making strides on the right-hand side, number 6. Davenport goes into the centre, joined now by Byrne. Atkinson. Wide towards Armstrong. Rob Jones. 10 minutes left in the first half of this FA Cup final. McManaman picks it up for Liverpool and finds Nicol. So predominantly right-footed on that left-hand side, but anyway, he's found McManaman again. Now we have got sunshine at Wembley after a most unpromising start to Cup final day, where it bucketed down in London all morning. Here's Houghton. McManaman, two waiting, and he didn't find either.
Well, it was a good little dinky ball by Ray Houghton, wasn't it, with his left foot. He doesn't often use that. McManaman with his left foot, but he whipped it across, and interestingly enough, both Saunders and Rush had pulled back out for the pullback. And I suppose it does bring back the question, because Rush has been injured so much this season, as to whether that pairing is the ideal one. I can remember early on when we were doing a game saying, do you think they can work together? I have my doubts, because they are both finishers. They tend to make the same runs, and neither of them actually has an individual ability to go past defenders, and that's been shown up in this opening, 30 minutes.
Well, Sunderland have sent Kevin Ball and Gary Bennett forward for this free kick from Anton Rogan. Up goes Armstrong. Bennett's in there with Wright. Jones the back header. Houghton needs to get this away for Liverpool, and he will. To Molby, it's come off his heels. Bracewell. It's all a bit untidy at the moment, isn't it? But that through ball by Jones finds Saunders. Hours having to come across from right back to cover. Saunders shoots first time, and it was a good effort.
Great ball from Rob Jones, but that's Saunders at his best, playing up there by himself almost, and being able to make those darting runs. That's one of the few occasions when he has been pushed right up, because often he's been working behind Rush.
Now here's Rush himself. Houghton. Nicol. McManaman. Thomas. Oh, well played by Jones. McManaman!
Terrific play by that young man again, Rob Jones. I'm looking forward to seeing how he copes with the European Championship, because he does look excited, doesn't he? Going forward, whipped in. I wonder whether Tony Norman felt it could have come for that, because it's a header on the 6-yard box and McManaman couldn't quite keep it down.
Got the Liverpool supporters in a good mood. Forward by Houghton to Thomas. Bit of a tough and rough and tumble there on the edge of the area. It was not intentional. Thomas helping Atkinson to his feet. They've done some work on this pitch since the Rugby League Cup final last Saturday, that's for sure. It's a header by Mark Wright, and here's Rogan. Byrne, Armstrong, Davenport goes down the left here and gets a corner off Mark Wright. Well, it was a corner that brought Sunderland that famous goal in '73, wasn't it, at this end? What would they give for one now? Armstrong goes onto the line. Ball comes in behind him. Flicked on, and Saunders to clear. There have been some anxious times in that Liverpool penalty area, Trevor, haven't there? The defenders are pointing at each other now.
Well, particularly on crosses. I mean, always felt that it's not the ideal for them high balls, but I'm surprised how vulnerable they have been today on a game like this.
That was a good ball by Molby out of defence to Ian Rush. They've got players joining in now, Liverpool, all across the line. Nicol, McManaman. Doesn't get past David Rush, who's had a good little game there in the first half, mainly covering in front of the fullback. We have 5 minutes left until half-time. Nicol for Liverpool. Saunders! Houghton now.
Good cross from Steve Nicol. Dean Saunders' first one blocked, and Nicol getting forward down that line. He used his left foot on that occasion. You mentioned without John Barnes there isn't a sort of natural left footer. For me, definitely McManaman more than anyone is struggling playing over on the left. I do feel a swap between Houghton and McManaman might prove more profitable with him down the right-hand side, where he has a natural shimmy to go outside a fullback.
They might well be discussing that in the dressing room at half-time, Trevor. Anyway, for the time being, it's Ray Houghton on the ball. Thomas. 8 passes so far in this Liverpool move. Hasn't got them very far forward yet. Here's McManaman. Mulby. Forward towards Ian Rush, headed out by Kevin Ball. And David Rush's clearance only picks out Rob Jones. Thomas. Houghton. Burrows. Ball was out. Nicol seemed to slip as he went for it. Come off the heels of Jones to Byrne. And Rush is joining up here for Sunderland. And here's Davenport. Shot strikes David Burrows. Well, you think how Liverpool stretched and strained to beat the likes of Bristol Rovers and then Ipswich and then Portsmouth. 3 second division sides have taken them all the way in this FA Cup competition this season. And the signs in the first half are that Sunderland will make it possibly as difficult for them. Just a couple of minutes left in the half, 0-0 here at Wembley. Not able to take teams apart quite like the Liverpool of old. Is that fair, Mr. Brooking?
Well, definitely. I mean, they've had little spells, haven't they, this season, but not with the consistency that they used to for several seasons. And I think Sunderland will be more and more confident as the half has gone on, because they have matched them. I thought the first 10 minutes Liverpool started well and looked very confident, but gradually Sunderland came into the game. They've had the best chance through John Byrne, undoubtedly, and they must feel that they're very much in with the chance of getting into Europe, of course, themselves.
Yes, the European Cup Winners' Cup, a prize for the winners today. And here's an opportunity for Liverpool to lay some claim just before half-time. A free kick, quickly taken. McManaman the outlet. And he's skipped down on the right-hand side. He's got inside. And it's still McManaman. Oh, brought down by Bracewell, was he? No. Liverpool can't believe it. They're going to Philip Don. And they must have felt on the bench that was a possible penalty offence. It's Jones. It bears out Trevor Brooking's point about McManaman switching sides, I ought to say, because the minute he did, it was effective. But as the controversy goes on, Sunderland break with Davenport. Byrne. Davenport. Through by Atkinson. What did you think about that?
Well, amazingly, McManaman's gone back over the left, and if ever he's got this shimmy, look, he just goes outside, shapes to centre, comes inside, then he just gets clipped on his heel. There's no, you couldn't see it from that angle. He caught his standing foot. It was definitely a penalty. As he slid in, Bracewell just blocked it. He got his standing foot and clipped him down. Definitely a penalty.
Well, my co-commentator in no doubt about that, but the referee didn't give it, and here's Saunders in stoppage time at the end of the first half.
I think the problem is the linesman is this side as well, so he would have been blocked off from the view, a bit like we saw on the television there. The referee's over the other side of the penalty area, and they couldn't have seen just the clip on the back foot, but he was definitely a foul, and it was a lucky let-off for Sunderland.
Meantime, Liverpool with McManaman back on the left, and the referee brings the first half to a close. I'm just going to watch referee Don walk off here in case any of the Liverpool party decide to remonstrate with him, but it was certainly one of the points of the first half which will cause discussion. Ray Houghton, I think, probably had a word as they went across. Well, he did have a word, there's no doubt about that. There's no score in this cup final. Sunderland certainly held their own, perhaps more than held their own. They had chances, didn't take them. Final ball wasn't right. Byrne missed a couple. But then Liverpool came towards the end and we had that shout for a penalty. We shall see, obviously, what Desmond's team of all talents think about that in the studio. But from the commentary box, the news is, at half-time in the cup final, it's Liverpool 0, Sunderland 0, and Mr. Souness in deep conversation.